Just got off the phone with our AdWords rep last week to kind of demystify some of the complexity associated with Google Smart Ads. I'm here to share that with you today. Look, if you're not familiar with Google Smart Ads, it's basically the application of artificial intelligence and machine learning in terms of advertising campaigns and performance associated with that. Basically, you give Google the stuff and they figure out who to target, when to target, how much to pay, all of that excellent stuff. But it requires you to put in some fundamental pieces of information which can either make or break your campaigns. So to set one up is very, very easy. First of all, you find the location you want to go ahead and manage, usually by phone number, usually using your Google My Business account. You find that information. You basically plug in like a radius, and then you're loading up products and services in that specific advertising campaign. The first major insight associated with my call with Google about the Smart Ads technology is feed the machine. Okay, feed the machine. And what that means is give Google the data it needs in order to make all those tests applicable, in order to find the right who, when, where, and how much to go ahead and bid. Very, very important. Okay, so but filling out that information is critical, right? In terms of making sure that you're giving Google that right bit of data, that right information in order for them to be successful at running those campaigns. Because remember, the AI technology and machine learning does a lot of testing on the fly. It's constantly learning about what works and what doesn't. Once you set up your account and you set up the primary campaign associated with that, you then can go ahead and create the ads. And the ads themselves are designed to give Google information about that specific campaign for that client or for your business, and to go ahead and use that for testing material. Now, interesting, when I was told, we brought up a specific example on our account, when I was told my three campaigns, I had three different ads going on in those campaigns, one of my questions to them was, well, can I see the actual ads? Because in terms of my understanding of the AI technology, it's going ahead and creating different ad versions that I can't even see, right, off of the data that I provided, either my products and services area or my primary category or the ads themselves. And my ad rep essentially said, basically, make sure that 70% of your ads vary, okay? And there's a reason for that, because if you think about how AI is swapping in and putting in key terms and using, products and services in this area and kind of mixing it up with this ad and stuff like that and testing it, it's learning at the time. So making sure that those keywords are in there are very, very important. Google's AI tool will find out the rest of the stuff, okay? But make sure that 70% of your ads vary in content and information. So it gives Google's AI tool the ability to find more content to be able to swap in and out. Does that make sense? So here's the deal. In the specific example I had, it just blew my mind. My three ads in this specific campaign for one of our clients, he said we're actually generating 64 different ads at any given time. Okay. Now, when I asked him, can I see these ads? I mean, as a client, they're going to ask me what ran, right? So he essentially said, nope, I can tell you that there were 64 ads generated from your three types of ads in this campaign, but I can't tell you what those look like. I can't tell you what the combination or breakout is between normal text ads versus Google My Business versus video potentially or display. All I can tell you is that 64 ads right now. We can't even see this number, right? All we see is the ads that we've created. Google's AI tool is trying to figure out the rest. The third thing that was important is many of us have Google Analytics installed on our website, right? We've been using them forever. There's a section in there to install Google Analytics tracking tag, right? But you're like, well, why can't I just connect those two? Basically, I can't. They're two independent systems. Now, Google may at some point bring those in alignment. You didn't hear that from me, of course, but that's just the general trend of how Google works. But right now, you will have two different Google Analytics tracking codes, one specifically for your campaigns in Smart Ads, but then the other one also that you're using as a default. Now, that being said, if you have a client and you're running multiple campaigns for that client, it recognizes that tracking tag when you go ahead and set up, let's say, a third or fourth or fifth different campaign, specialized focus for that specific client. Fourth thing, be patient. One of the first screens it asks you when setting up a smart campaign, one of the first things it asks when setting up a smart campaign is, what are your goals, right? Is it to get clicks? Is it to get calls? Or is it to get butts and seats, or location visits, right? So if depending on what goal you set, it's going to take a little bit longer potentially to get that kind of feedback it needs, because it's showing it for specific reasons. The AI tool is doing that, right? So one of my campaigns I had going on, the goal was very specific to drive phone calls, right? Which is probably pretty typical in a lot of small businesses. So it took a little bit longer to get momentum, especially when my ad spend was really, really small. So I had a client that essentially has 5 locations, 2 of which had more traffic, right? The other 3 were very small in location and got a much smaller portion of the budget, right? So what ended up happening was those first 2 locations, when driving phone calls, got a lot more visibility right out of the gate because there was more ad spend associated with it and potential traffic impressions. Well, in this case, phone calls as a goal. But those other 3, those smaller ones, took a little bit longer. Not basically, I just had to be patient for those. If I hadn't seen them, let's say a week or 2 after that, I probably would have gone ahead and switched the goals from phone call to, let's say, web traffic, click, right? Which is what his suggestion, my rep's suggestion was, in order to speed things along. Fifth thing, multiple campaigns. We kind of touched on it already, but making sure that you have multiple campaigns associated with a specific client, because a lot of our clients have, or even your business has, a lot more than 10 keywords that somebody could be typing in, okay? And the way Google's technology works, and we'll get to this in just a minute, is it uses what you put in there in that product and service, how specific you are, keywords, even portions of those keywords, to go ahead and create ads and to test that performance. So that's all connecting. So you may have a client, or you may be having a business with 5 or 6 different, let's say, primary kind of core products and services. I would strongly suggest you structure your mind around that process. So if you have a business with 5 different divisions, for example, or 5 different products or service suites, they kind of zero in, group them that way. Okay, so I'll give an example. If you're a chiropractor, for example, you may have one specific one that's a chiropractor, but then you also have one for back pain and neck pain and knee pain and shoulder pain, or your process. But think in terms of the value to the customer at the end, and kind of align those and set up those campaigns specifically for them. Remember, you only have 10 spaces available in that products and services area in order to do anything with, right? So very, very important. Keep that focus there. Keep it consistent. Think long-term keywords. As I kind of alluded to earlier, in that products or service area where it allows you to put in some defaulted, where you can actually just click and it becomes part of the suggestions become part of the products or services. That's great and all, but try to be, he said, as specific as possible in terms of those keywords. Think long tail key terms, because what happens is they're going to take, even in that, and it's actually called, it says what specific products or service you want to focus in on. Be specific as possible, because in that specific area, Google's going to be taking portions of those keywords and testing those live in the AdWords in the AI environment as well. So they're using all of that information. One last thing that's not on here. A lot of us don't use images as often as we probably should. Google's been telling us that that's very important. So there's an area in your campaign there near the bottom, actually, at least at this point, it says pictures, right? Images. Make sure you load images because what happens is Google's going to be showing that in display advertising and potential retargeting and stuff like that. Okay. If you don't, Google's still going to send those ads to the display network, but they're going to have no images. So they're going to perform a lot, let's say, less than what it would be if you actually did take the time to go ahead and upload really good photos that are consistent with your client's website or products or services, etc. And they do have kind of a neat little area too with just stock photos. So if you have a very tight budget and you can't afford, copyrighted images or getting your own custom photography or video stuff, by all means, go ahead and use that as well. Frederick Villay's book, Digital Marketing in an AI World. Great book. It's not too heady. It's a former executive at Google who went on his own, but it talks about AI technology and how to implement that, whether you're a client or a business or a consulting firm or any of those nature, but how to use this stuff effectively because it's coming down whether we like it or not. The days of building out millions of keywords and analyzing those and taking those to a landing page that's specifically designed to that. Google's going to be taking a lot of that lifting and doing it using AI tools. So the key to this is being creative. It should free us up to do much more exciting things with our clients in terms of understanding what the unique value proposition is, creating video and ads that have a significant impact as opposed to, okay, well, I'm managing, 1,000,005 keywords and, I got to optimize for those top 50 or 60 keywords, taking them to certain landing pages. Again, Google's going to be figuring all that stuff out. Our job is going to say, who are we trying to target? The messaging needs to be X, and we need to produce content, text and video in ways that are just excellent and right on. So I appreciate your time. If you have any additional questions, feel free to reach out to me. Also, feel free to comment, right? I monitor this stuff just like anybody else does. Love to get your feedback. If I missed anything, if I need to clarify anything, by all means, let me know. Thanks so much. Until next time.